Welcome to the scorching arena of valor and the crucible of courage. This is the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Here, in the inferno of life's greatest challenges, heroes are shaped and legends are born. Every episode is a torchlight of wisdom, casting a glow on the paths walked by those who've braved the flames and emerged stronger. In this furnace of fortitude, we'll explore tales of resilience, bravery, and the unyielding human spirit. Each guest brings their own spark of insight, lighting up the darkness and guiding us through the smoke of adversity. With Fireman Rob at the helm, prepared to delve into conversations that smolder with significance and stories that kindle the soul. It's not just a podcast, it's a beacon for all who seek to rise from the ashes and glow with purpose. So stoke the fires of your curiosity and ready your heart for tales of triumph and transformation. The flames are roaring. The stage is ablaze. Welcome to the Forged in the Fires podcast. Let the journey begin.
All right, welcome back to Forged in the Fires podcast. I'm your host, Fireman Rob. Today, I have the best damn gift. It is a gift, actually. It's a gift, but it's a guest. I have the best damn guest who wrote the book Damn the Valley. He served his country honorably. He is now doing marketing. He's doing speaking. This book, we got to get into this. William Yeske, thank you so much for joining me as a gift and a guest.
I was just going to say, I mean, there's very few people in the world that consider me a gift. No, I'm just...
Well, now you got two.
Right. No, it's good to be here, man. Absolutely. I saw even the name of your podcast. I gotta get on with this guy.
I love it. When I look back at your career and your military career, but now that you're trying to get that message out, you're trying to get, like you said, you're trying to help the other brothers that you were with to have this feeling. What is that feeling that you're wanting to get? What is that actually? Let's start with this. What was the feeling that you had when you started writing this book? Oh,
that complete different. Like, this has been an evolution, because when I first started writing it, this was literally, I'd never wanted to write this.
Yeah.
Like the story about how it kind of came to be was that, quite honestly, 10 plus years ago, we're coming off of Cop Johnston in Afghanistan, and one of the sergeants is Robert Mussel, and he jokingly makes this comment. He's like, 10 years from now, we're going to see a book with Yeske's name on the cover. And I'm like, yeah, I know, right? Let's talk about foreshadowing. I was just like, there is no way. And just, it kind of, for 10 plus years, is just in the back of my head, like, hey man, you really should put this stuff down. And I'm like, no, I'd never want to write about this stuff. No one cares about it. And there was an event put on by a nonprofit that was called Operation Resiliency. And what they did was the whole concept was taking guys from hard hit units and bringing them all back together in a peer group type environment, to where you start to talk to each other and open up with one another. And then they had clinical psychologists and stuff there to guide some of the sessions and stuff. Of course, yes, you come for the fun and you end up talking to your guys, which kind of gets you off guard. And these guys are there to, and there was excellent event. Oh my God. Like, when you have something like this, normally like a reunion, you get, maybe a handful of people. Right. No, this was like 120 guys, ex-paratroopers that descended on Charlotte, North Carolina. It was insane.
Oh, that poor city.
They drank the hotel bar dry in the first few hours. Like, it
Surprised.
Was right. Not at all. But, so there was a reporter there. It was a Wall Street Journal, and he was, I think he was doing something with the VA at the time. And it was a concept, and that's why he was there, was reporting on what he saw and everything there. Yeah. And it ended up to where somebody at a book publishing company saw the article, and they were like, hey, you should write a book. And he was like, no. And they finally just hounded him enough to where he was like, okay, and I interviewed with this guy and a bunch of the other guys interviewed. But as it got closer and closer to time for this, the release date, people started talking in the background. Like, I don't get a good feeling about this. Oh, he's a reporter. Oh, he's a journalist. He wasn't there. And I'm like, guys, he was a freaking Marine. He's a Marine vet. Marine officer. This is probably your best chance of getting your story out. Like, what is the problem here? This guy I've spent 5+ hours interviewing with him for it. And quite honestly, I think the only reason I show up in his book is that, action's on during certain points.
Right.
And I called him the more this chatter started up and everything. I called him and I was like, look, Ben, you've heard my end of the story. What do you think? Should I put it down? And he encouraged me. He was like, absolutely, like, put it down. Yeah. And I sent forward, before I even saw the other book, I sent forward the manuscript, and I got back like this just crazy, incredible, hey, I'm going to bring this to the roundtable in 2 weeks. You good with that? And I'm just like, wait, what? And that's how
Knights of the Round Table, or what?
I don't know. I still am trying to figure out the publishing world, quite honestly. It's been a whirlwind.
Oh, it's crazy.
But so this whole thing is it's just progressed through the whole deal. But, it's been good. And really, the whole thing through this has been so rewarding to see where that other book kind of, some of the guys closed off and they were, upset about it. I don't exactly know why. Maybe it's that they felt
hard. Yeah.
It's one of the guys, honestly, he said it best. And it's just that when you've been through something that traumatic, I mean, we had a 52% casualty rate. Like, that's unheard of.
Crazy. That's what I was reading. That's insane.
It's nuts. And then to not actually hear anything about it through the media other than, the stuff that happened with the command group during that time with, Stanley McChrystal's removal, and our battalion commander and sergeant major got removed. You hear about that end, but you don't hear about what the guys went through on the ground. And a lot of this stuff is, quite honestly, like, that whole valley region, a lot of the units that got put through there got put through the same type of hell. Like, a lot of the same stories, they just relate to it. And they're like, oh my God, they see the mountain in the backdrop, and I'll get DMs from these guys, or, they're commenting and stuff. And they're like, some of them don't even read through the thing or research. And they're just like, holy crap, I know that mountain range. Like, that's the Arghandab. It's just wild.
Jeez. That's, I mean, it had to be cathartic, but at the same time, it had to be maybe a little traumatizing when you're going through this again to write this book. Was there moments when you're starting to write that you kind of sat and said, you know what, fuck this. I can't keep writing because this is bothering me.
It's not my mentality. I can't do that. No, I'm serious, man. Like,
that's good.
It is like, so I've always been able to talk about it. Yeah. Which kind of like led me to, I even talked to my VA psychologist stuff. I'm like, why can I talk about this where it's affected so many of the other guys to where they're shut down or they're isolated or they just don't want to go back down that road.
Right.
And a lot of that came to the fact that I joined up a little later. I joined up at 26.
Okay.
And then I was in the Valley when I was 28. So at that point, prefrontal cortex and stuff is already fully developed.
Right.
And that's really, quite honestly, our explanation of why I was able to talk about it. But while writing this, and it's kind of, if you look at my resume, or you look at the whole, like, what I've done, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but it's, quite honestly, I never slowed down enough to process it. So
does that make you scared though?
Oh, well, this book brought it to light, because some of these chapters, especially when I was writing about, our first IED incident in the Valley where Specialist Jason Johnston was killed, and just tears streaming down my face, but writing these chapters and, and that portion, but knowing, I guess the gravity of what you're writing, and then contacting the families too. And like, look, is this okay? I want to be respectful here, but I also want to show people what really happened and like the full picture. quite honestly, his family probably gave me the wildest answer. And that was, they asked me, they're like, does Leeson know? Which is one of his buddies that he was deployed with. And I was like, yeah, Leeson knows. And he's read it. They're like, good enough for me. Go ahead.
Wow.
And I was like, what? Yeah, just the trust and just unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, that's a heavy burden too, that you had to carry, that, you know, with all those fallen from the Bravo company. That's not that has to be, I mean, I'm even getting kind of like, it's got to be challenging to make sure that it's in the right light, but it's also at the same time the truth of what happened. How important is it to you to have people read this? You need to go to damnthevalleybook.com to read this and understand what went on in that valley. How important is it for you to have people understand that? Because there's so many people that don't understand what we went through in that war, what there was, the sacrifice, and why.
So that's just been the whole thing, is like so when the publisher came back with a deal, all right, this has just been the whole progression. Like there's like a resonance to this. And that's how I kind of know that there's something here. It's never been about me.
Right.
The entire thing has been like, when they came back with a deal, they also were like, hey, can you supply pictures? We want 30 pictures. I didn't even hesitate. I had nothing, honestly.
Right.
But I was like,
you didn't take time to do pictures? What the hell? I mean, come on.
Yeah, right.
You had so much time, you know. That's why I always love when people, like with September 11th, everybody's like, do you have any pictures of you when you were on the piles? Like, oh yeah, I was taking selfies with my freaking Kodak camera.
Some of the stuff that came back surprised me, actually. Like
that's
some
crazy.
Of the pictures that the guys took were just wild.
That's crazy.
But thousands, like that's the entire social media campaign. So like you just said, the .com, but at Damn the Valley Book across, you know, Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, like the entire board, all of it. It's just across there. But so I started doing that to kind of gain interest in the story and in the book. You know, and we picked out, I think it was about 100 or something. I sent them into the DOD because the book ended up being, you know, and that's another thing, you know, I went through the DOD process.
Yeah.
Well, I could have released it anyway, just under historical fiction, which you have to look at a lot of the books out there these days. And there's some good stuff out there, but it hasn't been through the DOD process. It hasn't had that stamp. And even to get back that manuscript with black lines, that was interesting. It's like, all right, now I understood what I saw.
You're like, I didn't write what Kennedy is assassinated. I didn't write that. Get the whole paper black.
Certain things and stuff that I've been able to put in the social media campaign, and you can read between the lines, but where they didn't want either nomenclature or certain aircraft because certain units are the only ones that use this particular airframe, you know, and it's it's like, hey, they do not exist. It's like, but I went to the briefings to go be part of that at one point. No, they do not exist.
Sounds good.
Right.
Jeez. Yeah.
So you can write around it for the most part.
Yeah. But I mean, that's so powerful for you to have that honest voice for these guys.
Well, you went further. It went even further.
Seriously?
Like this is where, So as this stuff is coming back and as social is growing and as these guys are starting to contact me and go, hey, I have pictures. Where can we, you know, did you create a drive? What's going on? You know, here, how can I get you this stuff? The one in particular that I'm thinking of, he calls me and he's like, hey, you know, the cover picture? I'm like, yeah, what's up? You know, I'm thinking that he had an issue with it because he was one of the second platoon guys and we were first. But really, that cover picture exemplified kind of the feeling we had.
That. Yeah.
And he's like, I have that flag. Oh, and I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, yeah, I have the flag. So we went and we first started to try to get it into the unit historical case. Yeah. And they wouldn't talk to us. It was, I don't know whether between, you know, who are these jokers? Who's this? So we ended up, I was thinking during it and talking to the guys and I'm like, hey man, you know, we have a paver out in front of the Airborne and Special Operations Museum in Fayetteville, North Carolina. What do you guys think about me contacting the museum? Like, do you think it would be worth it to try to get the flag in down there? And that's what we ended up doing. Is I got on the phone. Crazy enough, I called the museum, and this never happens. Like, they're like, Jeez. 1 in a million chance. The curator picks up, and I'm like, all right, I got my 30-second elevator pitch. Let's go. And I start talking, and I'm past 30 seconds, and he hasn't hung up yet. And
winning.
It's just dead silence on the other end, and I stop, and I'm like, hey, you still there? And man, I might even get emotional.
Oh man.
He stops dead and he goes, I've been waiting for this call.
What?
I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And so not only did we get the flag in down there, but like there's certain stories about certain incidents and stuff. There's one of them where a suicide bomber went off, and right where this guy had literally been maybe 10 seconds prior, his backpack got shredded with the ball bearings from the suicide bomber. And that's in the museum. And like, you can actually read this book, but then see the pictures on social, but then you can even go down to the museum. And this stuff is now in the DoD historical archives for perpetuity. Like, wow. I mean, this is the full encompassed picture. And to me, to be able to provide that for these guys to have, their kids, their grandkids,
understand.
Like, hey, that's what dad or that's what granddad was part of, and be proud of it.
Wow. Wow.
I know it's heavy.
Yeah. Well,
it's heavy.
But it's so powerful, because I think there's so many stories and so much, we only get to see the big pictures. We only get to see the ones that people want you to see. And this is the actuality of the individuals. What is it like to serve with individuals like that who would go? I mean, you think about a valley. I mean, just even the idea of a valley in war, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing though. We had a good commander. I mean, even the battalion commander, I'm not saying anything about the one that came in and was the replacement for a battalion commander, but like the train up that we had from Lieutenant Colonel Frank Genio and Command Sergeant Burt Puckett. So the Command Sergeant Major's Puckett was actually he jumped into Panama. So
really?
Oh yeah. I've seen pictures on like his dang Facebook with him in Noriega's house. Like, it's just nuts.
Now that's a sweet picture.
So to have someone that's that battle hardened and like dedicated his entire life to warfare. And right. I mean, they put us through hell during the train up. And then when we got to Afghanistan, we started out in Helmand province, which, everyone was like, whoa, like they don't know the Arghandab, not yet anyway, but they know Helmand. And they're right. Like, whoa, you guys started out in Helmand province? I'm like, man, Helmand province was cake compared to what we ended up in. Like, that was nothing.
That was like Disney World.
Right? But you could tell, because as we left the wire, the radio chatter and stuff would start, and we were always postured so hard. So like they knew. We would instantly start hearing, hey, circle squares are coming out, because of the patch on our shoulder insignia looks like the 82nd Airborne the square patch, but with the circle and the AA in it.
Right.
So they're like, circle squares are headed out, hang back. Where the Brits were getting tore up every other day. We had Gurkhas there that would be, that would come in, with war stories, and they're running out there in light skinned Land Rover Defenders. And we're just like, good God, man. Like, we should do some patrols with you, because you guys are getting tore up for no reason.
Yeah. What are you doing?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not really sure, quite honestly.
Wow.
The first firefight we were in Helmand. So this was one of the things is we started getting from our Advon party, the one that went out there in the very beginning. We're getting word back from them because they left a month prior.
Yeah.
And we're getting word back like, man, this place is crazy. We've already been in some hellacious firefights just on the few small missions we've had out here. And we're like, all right, we're heading into it. This is what we trained for. Get ready.
Right. Game day.
And yeah. And we got there and it was nothing. We're like, what is going on? We're just patrolling up and down this freaking highway and doing these training missions. Like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Like, this is just what you would think of as a standard conventional deployment.
Right.
You know, a lot of hurry up and wait. But it was, we were doing we would always have Afghan police with us for the most part. And we were coming up the highway and these guys were in their little Danger Ranger that they would drive. And little Ford Rangers. There was those where you got your Toyota Hiluxes. And I think we were about a mile out from their police station, and we're clearing the culverts as we go along because it was almost like IED training area. We would find one almost every other culvert. And it was not like they ended up giving us a like $250,000 bomb robot, and I went to the training classes for it to be able to operate this thing and stuff. And I was just quite honest, I was trying to get the dang thing blown up because I had to keep my platoon sergeant away from the freaking thing. He used it like an RC car at night, you know. And I'm like, it's not your personal toy.
The sooner I get rid of this, the better.
Exactly. But we're about a mile out, and they take off. They're just like, "Hey, peace out. We're gone." And we're like, "Oh, we want to live, so let's. We're gonna deliberately keep clearing. We'll wave as we go by, I guess."
Right.
And about a half mile up the road, we come around up to this little village, and there's that Ranger like smashed into the side of one of the buildings. And we're like, what the heck? And as we come up to it, you start hearing the ping, pong, 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 stuff like popping off. And you're like, oh, shoot. And the gunner is, hey, we're in contact. And it went into it full on from there. And it was that training that we had and that train up was so evident. We wiped the floor with those guys. I mean, it was a picture perfect, an L-shaped. We were up on the road. We used the trucks as support by fire. We had dismounts come out and we just cleared right through them. No casualties on our part. Nobody was hit. Like it was and this is a squad size element with RPGs and support by fire in the wood line. Just wild. And they were trained. Like these guys are bounding up on our position. And, it was not like, so truck number one, as soon as we started getting into contact, like we're on a raised road and the village is down bottom. All right. Yep. And I'm trying to get this into a picture to where I can describe it over audio here. Cause you can't, we're behind them. I'm second truck in the convoy in a Humvee and we're dual mounted. We have a 240 machine gun mounted up with a Mark 19 grenade launcher.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We rolled heavy everywhere. Like it was.
So you guys were ready. That wasn't pea shooters.
No. And truck number one was an MRAP. So just a huge, 6 people in the back, a 50 cal mounted with a 240, but this element that's bounding up and they're using the village as cover.
Okay.
And they're bounding and we're in this firefight. And I'm like, I go to the LT. I'm like, hey, we got to get our gun in the fight. I have room. I can squeeze by the MRAP, get around them, get our truck into the fight and start lobbing grenades at them. And of course he's like, just don't get us killed.
That was my first idea. Right.
Right.
Yeah. That's like always the dumbest thing to say, isn't it? Like,
there
just
are
don't get us
so
killed.
many dumb things said in combat. It's insane.
Yeah. That's your next book.
Right. Dumb things said in combat by William Yeske.
Damn dumb things.
Yeah. So we roll around this truck.
Yeah.
And as we're going past, now an MRAP, if you've ever been up alongside one, this turret, you're talking like these weapons are about 10 feet up now. All right. From the ground. And they're on a raised road. And this element from down below, the gunner in the turret, these guys are so close. The gunner in the turret can't traverse his weapons down enough to get a beat on these guys. Jeez. And as we're passing, one of the guys, and it was actually Sergeant Rush, was underneath. He was one of the scouts that was assigned to us, and he tossed the SAW machine gun, so the 249 that was the driver's that was hanging up. He tossed it up into the turret, and in like one smooth motion, Specialist Cannon was in the turret that day. I have never, to this day, I've never seen this again. Like, this is nuts. He jumps up into the turret with the 249 and like just smokes two guys, like right there. Just, I was like, dude, like standing up in the turret, just smoking two guys. Of course, it gets back down after, but and then we roll around to the front and we just start lighting up the wood line with the Mark 19. Specialist Kohler just starts banging them out from there. And all I'm doing from it is trying to look for smoke trails and make sure that, if we have to maneuver or get out of the way, whatever the case. Exactly. There's so many things that happen at once. I mean, because I have the truck radio too, so I'm monitoring the radio at the same time. We've got the RTO in the back, but they're dismounting at this point, and he had left his man pack in the trunk.
Oh, really?
So that was my lesson number one, because when we got to the Argonaut River Valley, I became the RTO. That guy hated the job. Oh my God, he hated the job. But he's back there in a firefight, like yanking on a Humvee truck from the outside as we're exposed, trying to get his radio out. So,
oh my God,
it was nuts.
That's priceless. I mean, that's nothing. I mean, things go right, but there's so many things that you train for. And I think this is exactly what you were saying before, is that you trained to surpass or go beyond what was normal. Yep. So that when the abnormal comes, this is what you have. That's such a great lesson for anybody to learn, to be able to sustain something that you guys sustained. Now, and later on,
just really quick to segment that as well, is later on in the Valley, like it was so apparent, because by the time we're doing our left seat, right seat to where we're handing over our battle space to the next unit that's coming in to replace us,
right?
The night and day difference to where you get back from a combat patrol, and at that point, you're exhausted. You've been through the ringer out there and everything, but no, you're not hitting your rack. You're going into your priorities of work. You're getting your stuff. You're pulling every single bullet out of your magazines, and you're dusting off every single one, and you're blowing that stuff out, and you're making sure, you take it apart and make sure nothing's in there. And basically resetting everything and oiling down your weapon and stuff to where the unit that came in, not even the next day, just like you never knew. There was times where we were doing an AAR where we came back from patrol, and it went into like, we're doing the AAR at the ECP, which is the entry control point, and the sky lights up and just boom, and we're like, what the heck? And 800 meters, like it's 850 meters or so from us, there was the sister battalion, 1508, was staying at an Afghan police compound, the ANCOP down there by the town of Gondagan, and what was possibly meant for an attack for us, because we had intel that, hey, there was going to be a vehicle bomb. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened, was a vehicle bomb, a little motorcycle cart. They drove it right up alongside the wall. And we had told them multiple times, like, you need to push out like either C-wire, we'll come bring you C-wire or something. No, we're good. We have guys in the towers. More like insiders in the towers, because that was the main thing. It was that attack and it went into a complex ambush. Like, they blew up the hole in the wall, so there's your breach, and then it was guys rushing in with AKs and grenades and RPGs, and we lost 8 guys that day. Not us, but 1508. Not our guys. Like, we actually ran. So after being out on patrol, the platoon sergeant was in the talk at the time, and he comes running down, and he's like, holy shit, what is going on? And we're trying to figure out what's happening, and we don't have comms with 1508 either. So it ultimately, ended up to where we were in contact. There was a convoy that was going to that particular compound at the same time. And they contacted through TAC chat, I believe. And that's how we knew what was like enough to where the commander would release us to go react. And we ran 800 meters.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
fully loaded.
Full battle after a patrol. Like they supplemented weapon squad. He pulled guys out of the tent. He's like, get out there. Like we're going.
Wow.
And like we run into what very possibly could have just been, you know, a
complete
really nasty
ambush.
fire. Yeah. I mean, we're talking like when this thing, after that boom went off, there's tracers like blowing through the air and like our towers are like freaking out because they're pinging off the towers and stuff. It was wild.
Wow.
Nuts.
What was it like when you got back? That's always the big thing. I know that you know, it affects everybody differently. What about you? What about you when you got back? What were the next weeks and months after that?
So normally when you get back from something like that, there's a few days and they're like, all right, they go into a block leave and stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't release us for it was like 2 or 3 weeks. It might have even been a month, honestly, but they knew from the start. They knew so the very first day back, I think we got back on a Friday and we had the weekend. And then it was, back on Monday to do PT, your normal routine.
Right.
And we're in formation and no one had told us that the guys on Fort Bragg now had they would fire off a cannon in the morning now.
Oh,
Nobody
geez.
told us. And here we go. We're in formation, dress. Everybody's at the position of, attention. And boom, everybody broke. I mean, we're talking first sergeant up front, everybody hit the deck. And yeah, it was nuts. And he first sergeant gets up and he does this little giggle and he's like, well, guess we're all a little affected on that one.
Oh my gosh.
It was so telling right there. And
right.
I mean, you're talking sleep cycles, totally disrupted honestly for life. Me and my platoon sergeant joke about it because it was myself, the platoon sergeant, and Lieutenant Demarest we took over talk duty on that end. And then we're on a little 28-man cop. So you also have 4 towers and an ECP to man, plus combat patrols, and everything else we're doing, trying to base improvements. We were spread so thin that you would maybe get 2 or 3 hours here and there. You slept when you could. And it was just one thing to the next. So when I got back, I had an apartment that I'd gotten. And I asked the landlady there, I'm like, hey, do you mind if I paint? And they're like, well, what are the colors and stuff and everything else? And I'm like, look, it's classy and did some grays and whatnot. But I painted like a 2,000 square foot place in a weekend. And they're like, whoa, and I'm like, I just followed the same sleep schedule. I just was like, got tired. All right, go to bed for a few hours, come back up, keep going.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I mean, and like you said, it's a long-term thing. And, you have all of these individuals that, have different effects and are leading different things. I can't tell you enough how valuable and how honored I am to have you on and that you wrote this book, Damn the Valley. Go to damnthevalleybook.com. You can get your own copy today. It's just been such an honor to have you on, Will.
Honestly, thank you. It's been my honor, honestly, to bring these guys' story forward. That's the big thing to me is that they're trusting me to bring this story out. And then, in these things where I'm speaking in front of people, the weight and the gravity of what I'm doing there and stuff. That's so on Veterans Day was actually the official book launch event down at the museum for this thing. Oh, wow. And I think about 12 of them, 12 or so showed up, and then a few of them, we went out to dinner that night and everything. But to stand there in front of 70 plus other people that were there for the book event, and represent what they had done and stuff, that's heavy.
Huge. That's heavy.
So heavy.
Yeah, that's heavy, but I mean, obviously from the way that you talk, the way that you honor them. It's rightfully so. You know, we're not going to end yet. I got three questions to ask you. Are you ready for those three questions?
Oh boy, let's do it.
Here's the fun part. All right. If you could go back to your 18-year-old self and give yourself one piece of advice, what would that be?
Follow your own dreams.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, no, I can explain that one too. I kind of felt the call to service when I was 18. I almost joined the Marines right out of high school, and I had everything, my ducks in a row, but it was, you know, convincing of the parents that, hey, we think college will be better for you. And they did this whole, like, we'll pay for your college. And then you could go in as an officer. And quite honestly, I should have just found my own way and been like, you know what? Don't worry about it. Army or Marines or, you know, the service will pay for my college. I should have just went and gone and done my own thing. Would have saved at the time, you know, and of course, like we said before, the Wild Bill thing, I think at the time too, is I had seen my cousin go through the Marines and I saw, you know, the difference in him. You know, he was a little bit of a wild man too. And that discipline that they instilled in him gave him quite the leg up on everybody else in his peer groups in going forward. And quite honestly, the discipline that I was given, you know, through the particular unit and stuff I was in is transferred over in just about everything I've done.
Right. I love that. All right. This next question is going to be good. If you could give, everybody's kind of has their own challenges and struggles that they're going through. If you could give people 2 habits that they can incorporate into their daily life to continue to move forward, to push forward, what would those 2 habits be?
Number 1, fitness is important. So get that workout in.
Yeah.
You know, don't hit that snooze, get up and get after it right away.
Come on, that snooze is really nice though.
It is. But it's a killer. I know so many people that it's
so true.
Like it's that thing where you unconsciously you set a goal. I want to get up at this time. And if you're going to hit the snooze, then just set the time back because you're unconsciously starting your day off putting things aside.
That's so true.
And then for your second one, meditation, man, like honestly, like that mindfulness end of things. And it's not even like so many people are like, oh, I have to, you know, go into lotus position and, you know, no, it can be your morning routine. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I do that. I love that end of stuff too, but that's not what meditation is. It's taking a moment and starting your day with an intention. Yeah,
that makes sense. All right, this last one's fun. If you could have coffee at a firehouse table, so in other words, any question can be asked, it's going to be answered with 3 people that can be deceased or alive, who would those 3 people be?
Oh, man. You didn't tell me you were going to do this. Ooh.
Yeah, I knew you were up for it, though.
I've got so many good ones. So one of them would be Genghis Khan.
Oh, there you go.
And I know like so many people are immediately, you know, Genghis Khan, like this guy is stacking bodies. Oh, it's got to be that warrior end of thing. And it's really not. There's a book out there that I read. It's called the Genghis Khan in the Modern History or the History of the Modern World. And it has to do with like not only the conquest end and his background, but really more of that collaborative end. Okay. And people don't know that. Like people don't know that he actually assimilated the best of the best, like within different cultures and stuff that they would take, you know, conquer. He would take the successful end of things and integrate it into his own society. People don't know that. People don't look at that. And they just know the stacking bodies and, you know, the pyramid of skulls outside of somewhere. Well, and the thing is a lot of the atrocities weren't actually him. It was actually a relative of his out of the, I think it was India, out of that area. And he did things in the name of the great Khan. And that's how history remembers it. It's crazy to see how that turns into like down the road. So unless you're a historian, you'd never know that.
You'd never know that. Yeah. You're sticking that face value of the history of what you're told.
Yeah.
Wow.
Others. There's just JFK.
There you go.
I think he was a really good one and had humanity's interest at heart.
Yep.
You know, besides the other stuff he had going on. But quite honestly, I think he was a pretty dynamic person.
Yeah, he was.
We're all human. You know, we all have faults.
What?
The last one, man.
Who's rounding out your table here?
So let's see. We got Genghis Khan on one end.
Genghis Khan on one end, JFK having coffee on the other end. Who's in the middle being like that mediary?
Quite honestly, you know who I'd love to talk to, and this would be a possibility. Who knows? Maybe I'll hear this one. That'd be Obama, President Barack Obama.
There you go.
I think that would be a really good one to bring in there.
I like it. That's a good table right there. You did good, Will.
Thanks. Thanks. I know. It's
never easy to figure out.
It's not, and there's so many dynamic people throughout history that you look at. I've got like just names blown through my mind, and I'm like, man, I wish I had some time to think about this. But I understand like the end behind that as well. You know, put them on the spot because you're going to get
some
really the truest answers.
Answer. Oh, yeah. There's some great ones. Make sure you go to damnthevalleybook.com. Will, it's been such a great honor to have you on today, and thanks for what you're doing.
No, thank you. You know, all those links too are up on there for Amazon or Barnes & Noble and Bookshop. You can get them all there too, or really quite honestly, anywhere books are sold.
Thanks for listening and supporting the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. And please share this episode with a friend or family member. To find out more about Fireman Rob, or if you have a question, go to www.firemanrob.com. Until next time, live your life forged in the fires.